Well, are you ready for today? I must tell you the way I think and what I find interesting. You see, first I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I don't want to say make people think, because you should be thinking anyway, but you know what I mean. And I find that I get more out of this sometimes than people do, because I don't think a lot of people really listen or frankly care one way or another what I think. I'm never ever gonna consider myself a prophet or any. No. I just do this. This is a form of entertainment and a thought performance that I think is very, very important. I think people like this. It's very, very critical, and I think people get a kick out of it. But for the most part, what are you going to do? It's one of those things that it works like this. In no particular order, there is a thing that I'm noticing more and more and more. And it's the personification of an idea through a person. Let me give you an example. I'm a retired Catholic. I have nothing but great feelings for the faith, for people, for my family, friends, and the great priests and nuns who really were absolutely very critical in my development. They were great teachers and great. And I've always studied it, and I always talk about it, and I love the Bible, and I love to study it. Thank you, Pizza Hut. This is so brilliant. I don't understand it, but I laud it. Pizza here says he talks about the legendary pan and stuffed pizza crust pizzas. Will fly you to a world of flavors. They want you to try their at the local Pizza Hut restaurant and Pizza Hut, and I thank you for that. I don't. This is to me sheer genius. Sheer genius. I don't even know what to make out of it, but thank you nonetheless. I'm doing Pizza Hut ads, I guess. By the way, you can always have pizza anywhere you go. Some of the best pizza in the world is what is done in Rome. It's this rosa, basically. It's pizza with just tomato sauce and vegetables and that sort of thing. So for those of you who are not into cheese and dairy, you can still enjoy it. So thank you, Pizza Hut, very much. I mean that sincerely. It's genius. But let's talk about something. As I was saying, there were people who always talked about Pope John Paul. And I said, well, what about Catholicism? What about Catholicism? What about the tenets of the church? Forget Pope John Paul. What about Catholicism? And then, well, this new pope, okay, Bergoglio, okay, fine. What about Catholicism? Well, this new guy is kind of like a socialist. He's not even he's a Jesuit from Excuse me, what about Catholicism? And if you notice, there are people who get involved in the particular personality, not the music, the personality. So there are some people who love the Beatles because of the music, and there are other people who loved the Beatles. So what we're going through right now is a very interesting case, which I want to give you as an example of this. Tucker Carlson came along and is one of the classic created characters of work ever. He is a performance artist, much respect, very smart, much I agree with, but is a performance actor who has been through every iteration that you can imagine. Go back to what he said initially during the incipient moments of COVID. Listen to what he did, advocacy of lockdowns and this and that, and then later on, he changes. Now, to be fair, I will never hold anybody ever hold them accountable for changing their mind or when things change or you don't know. There were things that happened during the AIDS recommend years. You don't remember this, but I do. There was a time during AIDS when people wouldn't even talk to. They wouldn't want to bury somebody with AIDS. They didn't know anything about it. They were so afraid. And then Princess Di, believe it or not, shake hands. And so it was a different time. They weren't homophobic per se. They might have been, but their fright and their scare was warranted. Okay, later on we realized it wasn't true. So for somebody to sit there and say, and those people who turn their noses up against the human beings, and excuse me, you did this. Yeah, well, whatever. You did the same thing. You were a part of the fear culture too. I love how everybody now post-COVID, they're experts. They're experts. Well, I wouldn't do this. Wait a minute. You don't know what was going on then. I want to read this one thing to you. Listen to this. This is a great piece. I enjoy thoroughly Lou Rockwell every day. I think it's one of my favorites. And listen to this. He can't stand. This is David Stockman, by the way, from the Stockman's Contra Corner. He says, we have minimum low regard for Donald Trump. And not merely because he is a bombastic lout and world historic megalomaniac. His policies were terrible too. The federal budget. And the free market was kicked hard in the pants by his immigration and trade policies, the unforgivable COVID lockdowns, and the Trump-inspired mass vaccination campaign for an untested gene therapy that he rushed to market via what history will characterize as the cruelly named Operation Warp Speed. Wait a minute. Hold it. I don't think people understand what's going on here. I don't think people recognize the zeitgeist, the spirit of the times then. Everybody now is jumping on. Do you remember what that was? Do you remember? Oh, no, but I knew better. No, you didn't. I remember somebody who told me during the Iraq War, I knew right away. No, you didn't. I knew it was terrorism people who, the 9/11 revisionists who say, I knew right away that it was phony, that it wasn't. No, you didn't. No, yes, I did. I hate these people who all of a sudden, after the fact, they can't go back and they remember what it was then. Like in the case of AIDS, there were people who were freaked out. Is it airborne? What is this? People walking around with huge, this Kaposi sarcoma, these big blotches, people with a wasting disease. Oh my God. Can I get it from giving blood? Nobody knew. Now you look back and of course you say, that was pretty nuts. It was crazy. Well, that's what happened then. So anyway, all of a sudden now they're experts. Now they're experts. They say, wait a minute, there's a balance here. Now, I'm with you. I think we got to be very, very careful. But understand what people thought. And I have many, many friends who are physicians. Many, many people were thinking about there being something similar to or close to the horrors of the Spanish influenza. Okay, that was then. We know differently now. So don't compare the two. But keep in mind who your boyfriend Tucker Carlson was. And now what he's saying now compared to what he said then. He's a guy who's been trying to find himself since the days of the bow tie, through MSNBC, through this, through that, and he kindly found a home. And he's, again, very talented. He has a lot of good things to say. But he is a brand. He is like everybody else, whether you're Tucker or Jordan Peterson or AOC or Nancy Pelosi or Dr. Drew, or me. You're a brand. And your brand is a composite of who you are. And here was a guy who was riding high. Maybe got too big for his britches. Maybe flew to, not Sisyphus, I forget who was it, who flew to close to the sun and his wings melted. Whatever the particular analog is. So he's bounced. Crushed him. unceremoniously give us back our equipment. You're on your own. See ya. Oh, and by the way, Tucker, you might be able to go on Twitter. We don't know because we own you. We're going to keep paying you, but we don't want you to go anywhere. Don't say anything. Don't write anything. And don't violate the terms of your non-compete. Okay? Don't do that. What was it? I don't know. People were shocked. Why? Because they weren't a part of a political idea. They were into the cult of personality of Tucker. They weren't conservatives. They were Tuckerites. They were tuckered out of this. They were plumb tuckered. And they were royally tucked by his removal. Okay, fine. They went crazy. Meanwhile, I'm saying, all right, we'll get back to that in a moment. Let's talk about the cause. No, shut up with the cause. I don't even know what the hell the cause is. I liked him. That damn Fox News. Okay, all right, okay. How do they do that? Okay, all right, he'll take care of it. He's got plenty of money. He's getting the best lawyer in the world. Okay. I hope he knows what he's doing, by the way. You don't want to waive those residuals anyway, whatever. Then he goes, he's announced he's gonna go on Twitter. Okay, great. Now, can we talk about that? No, we're not done yet. We're talking about Tucker. All right, okay. What is it? What do you want to talk about? Well, he's going to work with Elon. Well, that's not what Elon said. See, Elon kind of said that he wasn't really... It doesn't matter. But he got 40, 50, 100 million hits. And you don't think Elon put his thumb on the scale a little bit? Elon's trying to sell Twitter as a platform for places to go. He was on Tucker's show. He kissed his arse like you can't believe. It was boot-licking, lick-spittling, toady, fawning, obsequious. Oh, my God, it was like a love affair. Just like he did with other people like that Portnoy creep and Corolla and all the cool kids. Because there's one thing you got to understand. I know you don't like me to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. If you insist upon being an acolyte, Tucker wants to be cool is more than anything else. It means more to him to be the cool guy, respected, one of the guys. Tough, masculine, ruddy, rough, rock-ribbed American, a tough guy. A tough guy who likes skeet shooting and fly fishing and field stripping a moose in the bowels of the Maine woods. And by God, I'm a family man and a Christian. And you got it? And you're going to respect? Okay, all right. You got to know this. That's why I'm going to have on all the cool kids on my shows. I can say, I get it. Me and Portnoy, the Cretin, like that. Adam Carolla, like that. See, they like me. This is who I'm hanging around with, right? And Elon and I. Oh man, he's so cool. Isn't he dreamy? Yes, Tucker, he is. No, isn't he? Wow. Okay, you're drooling. Take it easy. Don't you know what Elon is, though? Elon's a genius. And I'm wading through this, and I'm listening to this. It's like, okay, are you done yet with this? No. Now he dropped his fourth. 4? Some of us are cranking 5, 6, 7 of these things out a day. What is he doing? Well, but it's a little bit more produced. And they're very good, but there's a word, no, rhymes with ship, like a ship in the night. It's no ship obviousness. It's like, no kidding. Does this get you? Oh, it's brilliant. He nailed it. Okay, are you done with him yet? No. All right. And here's the latest one. And this is where I say, okay, that's enough. You've lost your mind now. Now you need help. You're a part of a cult or something. I don't know what this is, but you're not in any way even remotely mimicking real life. I want to read something to you that I wrote today. This is on my own little Twitter. Well, just little old me. The cult of personality, no, the cult of me. That's all. And he wrote, you got to understand this. And he's upset because when Joe Biden was speaking, somebody at Fox wrote in the Chiron or the lower third that Joe Biden was a dictator. And that immediately Fox News took it down. Fox News, whom he hates. Fox News, whom he's involved in litigation with, ostensibly. Fox News, hey, he lives and breathes. He's like Lenny Bruce. Trump's got his thing. Tucker's got his thing. I hate Fox. Okay, fine. Okay. Lenny Bruce used to read his indictments. It's sad. But Joe Biden is not a dictator. This is my response. Joe Biden is not a dictator, or a cruel ruler, or some despotic strongman holding a country and a society hostage. Nope. Joe Biden is an autopen, an animatronic, a trained poodle in a bad circus act, a policy slave and a wholly owned subsidiary of the shadow government. He is the perfect Manchurian candidate and simply stands for the proposition that whatever lunatic proposal or program or policy is handed to him, he will dutifully sign it, lest he subject himself and his family and his evil seed debauched genetic replica to certain incarceration or worse. But never ever refer to him as a dictator or someone who is utilizing an individual plan or volitional methodology to promote or propose a course of action. He is a stooge and a neurologically compromised senescent dotard held hostage. He is not a dictator. Now, I don't know how to tell you this. Maybe we can. But my friends, we've got to get back to the garden. I think Joni Mitchell said it best with Woodstock. We've got to get back to reality here. And what I want you to do is, you can like anybody, say, okay, that's good. But if you really want to find out the really deep stuff, you're going to have to sit back or sit down or open up your laptops and dig. And if it comes to you in a cedar line, very nice, little whatever, there's some stuff it doesn't really tell you anything. Because what you want to know is complexity. You don't want to know the obvious little strains of, yes, we know that. Okay. You don't want to do that. You don't want to hear the obvious. The obvious doesn't help anyone. The obvious is a waste of time. Now let me throw something to you. And I mentioned this last night. And this is so interesting. And I love, and I will be the first one to acknowledge this. Sometimes you are a great source of entertainment to me by virtue of your obstinacy, your anger. And there are many of you, wonderful people, who believe in stuff you don't even know about. You think you believe in it. You think you understand it. It's kind of like, honey, where's my... I love this one. This is a pin that says neither one. I like that. So you say, honey, where's my lapel pin? Where's my CIA lapel pin? Take that off. Anyway, where's my lapel pin? Yeah. What does that mean? I don't know. Sean, why do you have a CIA lapel? I don't know. Do you know what the CIA did? Well, look, it's cool. It's like they're the good guys, right? I'm kind of into the cop thing, I'm a conservative. The cops, better to have them on the inside, micturating out than the outside micturating in. Okay. Sean, can I explain Operation Ajax? I don't want to hear any of your operations. It's a CIA lapel pin. They're cool, and I'm going to put this on. And I don't have to know anything about the CIA. From Angleton to, don't bring up Colby and how this guy, who was a champion canoeer, went out in a storm on a canoe and left the soup on the stove. I don't want to hear this stuff, okay? I'm not interested in that. I'm not into conspiracy theories. That's what we're talking about now. So last night, I did something which is so interesting. Just happenstance. During our 7 p.m. little interlude, I asked the question, because somebody was saying Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah has nothing to do with Jesus or God or whatever, blaspheming or hating homosexuality, pederasty, believe me, this was a spectator sport. It has nothing to do with that. Nothing. But it through history and misquotes and misunderstanding, it's always meant. It's just when people say here, play it again, Sam. He never said play it again, Sam. It never. No, that's not it. That's not what happened. That's not what it is. And people went crazy. No. And somebody sent me an actual. They cut and paste something which they didn't even read because it says exactly what I said. And I'm not going to go through this again, but it fascinated me. It fascinated me that people could misquote something, know it, claiming through their Christianity. And by the way, this is an Old Testament thing. But anyway, but they could claim this and then not even read it, not even understand it, not know what it means. And then get mad when you say, that's not what that means. No, you don't understand. The Bible condemns homosexuality. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. I don't know about you, but if I was fixing my car and I'm reading the manual, or you're reading and you're saying, you know what? I don't think that's the transmission fluid. Yes, it is. Now, wait a minute. Let's make sure. Are you telling me I don't know what I'm doing? No, I'm just telling you that may not be the transmit. In any other walk of life, we want to know the correct answer. Not here. Can we talk about Tucker again? No. You're missing the point. It's not about Tucker. Somebody asked me last night, what do you have against him? It's like, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. It's not about him. This is not a story. This is a work. You're being involved in a PR. You're being well, I was going to say there's a certain match. I don't want to use that particular phrase, but in a certain, pre-litigation fight between Fox News and this guy, and you're missing the point. And what he's saying is not even remotely earth-shattering. The most preposterous was, and the reason why the moment that Trump incurred the wrath of the shadow government and deep state was when he said that there were no weapons of mass destruction, and that was it. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Are you buying this? I don't know. It sounds good. Anyway, I'm going to tell you something which is the most fascinating here, and it deals with the collection or the way we all think as a people. Let me explain to you. Do you believe that you have the autonomy, the primacy, the control over your children? Yes or no? Let's start off with a very simple premise. Answer this question, especially if you are at home and you say, I don't really. But it's very simple. Just type yes, put number 1 for yes, number 2 for no, the usual thing. Do you think you have control, absolute autonomy over your children? Yes or no? Do you believe you have this? Yes or no? It's a very simple idea. And I love complicated ideas. And I love to start off with something which seems to make sense until you analyze it, until you look at it. And you say, well, because it's the gray that's interesting. Jimmy Emery says yes. John Smith says no. Paul Rodriguez says yes. D says after 11 years old? No. After 11 years old. Not 10, not 12, 11. D says no, no. Ann says no. Jojo Kennedy, no. Or ho-ho, as it's spelled in Spanish. No, everybody says no. You do not have control over your children. No, you do not have control over your children. You do not have primary control over your children. Your children, yours. Well, who does? The government? Well, no. Nobody has control over your children? Nobody? Your children can do what they want? Is that what you're saying? You sure about this? Did you understand the question? Apparently not. You're saying kids can control themselves. You have no control. Your parents say, "What? Hey, Pops, I'm leaving." What? Well, I don't have any control over you. Understand this? It's complicated, isn't it? It's complicated. It's a complicated thing. Do you have control over your child? Yes or no? Oh, please don't cite the Bible. Please don't. Please. That is the rudest thing you can do. It'd be like a Muslim citing the Quran. It's like, wait a minute. Not everybody believes the Bible. Not everybody recognizes the Bible. No, not everybody, not even Christians. In fact, Catholics in particular, they never look at the Bible. Never do that. That is just so haughty. You know who does that? All these turning point people. And the Lord said, oh, stop that. Nobody's told. This isn't a religion class. What do you think? And if you don't want me to listen to you, you get out of the picture and let me just read the Bible. Anybody who's on radio or TV or whatever, if you're just a mouthpiece for the Bible, we don't need you. Thank you very much. See ya. That drives me nuts. Can't stand that. Well, in Timothy 3, no. What do you think? Well, I don't really think it. Years ago, there was a big deal about circumcision. Some people went crazy. Do you have the right to circumcise your male? Do you have the right to do this? Do you have the right as a parent to cosmetically remove, and I think most people would say it might be beneficial, but it's not necessary, to remove the prepuce from the glands and make your child a hard hat versus an anteater. Okay? Do you think so? This was a very big deal. Other people would say, you can't do this. You're mutilating a child. No, I'm not. As part of convention and tradition. I don't care what it is. It's a barbaric tradition. You shouldn't do that. A child is painful. And others will say, this was a big debate. It still goes on. It still goes on. That prepuce is a big deal. And it made people ask the question, do you as a parent have the say? Yes or no? Well, growing up in Florida, in Tampa, we had a lot of Cubans. Still do. But mostly Cubans. And they had a propensity to pierce little kids' ears, little babies. Piercing ears. People went, you can't do that. They said, what? You can't pierce it. That's terrible. That's pretty mild compared to what we're doing now. But people said, well, it's my kid. Well, it's your kid, but I don't. Wendy's. What's so special about Wendy's new bacon Swiss burger? I might be the wrong person to ask. Well, sauce, Swiss sauce, more bacon, all in a toasted bun. Thank you, Wendy's. Thank you. Please, a good group of people. Loved those Frosties. I sure did. Now, let me ask you this much. Do you as a parent say, I believe that it is in my child's best interest to have a puberty blocking procedure done and to have an orchiectomy, a castration, or orchidectomy, as some people say, hysterectomy, mastectomy, puberty blockers, to make sure that we do this before my child hits puberty, because at that time, all bets are off and everything changes. Do you think so? Do you have any say? I've thought about this. I've talked to experts. We've been to Columbia School of this, Peter Van Brigham this, whatever the hospital. I've talked to the head of endocrinology, pediatric surgery, chief of staff. They have an ethical commission. They've been to the most prestigious medical schools. All of them parents. All of them are from a variety of backgrounds, and all of them say, without a doubt, that it is completely fine. Ricky Lee says, have you prayed for somebody? As a child, maybe. But recently, no. I don't pray. So here's my story. Do you think this is within your purview? Do you? I say, yeah. Sure it is. In all cases, no. No. But does a parent, is a parent with the jurisdiction? Yes. Are you about to ban all surgery, all prepubescent blocking surgery, all of it? Is that what, are you planning to do that? Is that your thing? Well, I don't know if it's my thing, but no. So it's okay then? What do you think? Do you think it makes sense to have a, what am I saying this? Do you think it makes sense to have a rule that says parents have no say whatsoever? No, of course not. But do you think it's okay to do this to a child? Well, I don't know about a child. Well, what is it then? What can you do? What can you do? That's the issue. And nobody really knows. Nobody talks about it. They think, I can't imagine doing this. But do you want to have a law that says no? Do you want the government telling parents and telling doctors what they can and can't do? I don't know if I want that or not. There was a statute a while back. They attempted to prevent conversion therapy. Conversion therapy is the therapy that says if you're gay, you can be talked back. I think Christians were, some religious folks are trying to maintain it, that you can talk somebody out of being gay. I think it's the most preposterous thing I've ever heard in my life. But do I think there should the government be able to tell somebody you can't do that? Of course not. No. What if there's some form of PTSD therapy that you might think is strange, but actually is effective? So here's the question. What is it that makes sense? Thank you, PBS. Funding for the Lionel was made possible by Ron Jeremy, oh bless his heart, and by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That's very good. Is Ron, this sounds so terrible. Is he still with us? Ron Jeremy is, he's committed to a mental health facility. Yeah, he's pretty bad. Ron Jeremy, bless his heart. Not a good person, but he used to be on a show I did on, it's called Snap Judgment on Court TV. He was a guest of mine. It was very interesting. Very smart guy. So that is that. Do you think children should be able to tattoo? Should a child be able to get a tattoo? If you can do piercings and circumcisions, and if you can have surgery to prevent puberty, should a child be able to have a tattoo? Yes or no? You think so? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? Let me ask another question, which is the most important. The other day when you saw Joe Biden at the White House, and he had gay flags or whatever it was, and you had it turned into it's like Mardi Gras. You know, you had these women or the trans women lifting up their top. I suggest that those are not breasts, but those are nipples, not the areola or areola as is mispronounced, but that to me, I mean, if Arnold Schwarzenegger took his shirt off, you'd say, oh, okay, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Are those breasts? Well, no, not really. Well, if Arnold Schwarzenegger put silicone bags or saline bags in his chest, would they be breasts then? No. What difference does that make? But anyway, at the White House, do you think Joe Biden has any say over this? No. They own Joe Biden. You know it and I know it. And why do you think all of a sudden this stuff's being kind of leaked out? Like, hey, Joe, got that whistleblower stuff. Don't think about getting hinky on us. Oh, no, I'm not. No, Joe, be careful. Don't think about going south on us, Joe. Remember, we own you. See, that's what the whole Epstein thing was. That was about a honeypot. The only issue involving Epstein, where are the tapes? Where are the videos? Where is the evidence? Where? Who's got that? Can you imagine what would happen? Let's just say, and I'm just saying hypothetically, not that I think it's true, there's no evidence, but let's assume that I've got, if I guess what? Put this in your camera. Oh my God, this man's having his way with a wildebeest. Okay. Look who that is. That looks like Bill Gates. It is. Hypothetically. What do you think I could do with that? Well, we need your help in some legislation. We need your help in a fund. We need your help in to do it. Why? Okay, yeah, good, thank you. Hey, Joe, yeah, we want you to sign this bill that gives the government the ability to take kids in the middle of the night, let's say hypothetically, to have surgery without their parents' consent and without a court order. We're going to have this under the War Powers Act or the National Defense Authorization. I don't know. Joe, here you go. You're an auto pen. Sign this. Well, I don't know. Whistleblower. Okay, you're right. Thank you. Okay. Joe, what is it now? Joey wants you to sign something which basically provides that we're going to be signing a treaty with the UN coming up, and it's going to grant jurisdiction in the United Nations under Agenda 2030 for all cases involving firearms and firearm use. I don't know if that's constitutional. Joe, whistleblower. Okay, you're right. I'll sign that one. Good. Joe, we got some more for you to sign. That's right. We're going to be doing something. We're going to have all surveillance, whatever it is. They own him. He's not a dictator. Tucker, I don't know how to tell you this. Dictators are involved. If you think Putin's a dictator, if you think Erdogan's a dictator, if you think MBS, China, Xi Jinping, they know what's going on. Granted, they don't work in a vacuum. But that's what's happening right now. And another thing I want to tell you, and I don't know how to tell you this, but I have not met anyone who was able to put the notion of Trump into context. And David Stockman hits it perfectly. He doesn't like Trump. He says this is not about Trump. This is not whatever it was. But it's a bigger issue. By the way, did you hear the story where when Trump was in Miami, he said, food for everyone, or something like that. And then they said he stiffed them, didn't pick up the tab. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't know if that even happened. But let me tell you this. If Trump did say, I'm picking up the tab, and he didn't, he is crazier than anything you can imagine. Why do I say that? Because that is so simple to understand. They will look at that as being the ultimate in horror, the ultimate in double crossing. This is where we are today. They will look at that as, dear God, you handed that to your enemy. They will never forget it. They will do a meme on you. So I hope it never happened. I hope you never said, I'm going to pick up the tab. How would you do that? He locks the doors and, okay, everybody who got a tab now, from now on, just give your tab to, this is on the president. Who knows? It's one of those things that just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I don't even know how to say this. I'm also going to say something to you. I saw something the other day, and it never ceases to amaze me. There are two people that I really, 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 really am so impressed with. Number one, on social media, or any media, streaming or otherwise, Joe Rogan is exactly who he wants to be. He talks about things that you might want to consider. You might consider, concupiscent and all of that stuff, and that's fine. But he has some of the best discussions regarding going faster than the speed of light, physics, AI, AGI, the distinction. He is superb. Lex Friedman, superb. The folks who are providing these rather arcane, somewhat recondite, platforms are fantastic. It is the best thing there is. It is so, so good. That's why, if you are spending any time at all recognizing or using Fox News or Newsmax or whatever these ones, if this is your level of, put it this way, the coverage of sports is far more complicated than the level of news here. Sports is far more complicated. So what you've got to really understand right now, and you've got to grasp, is that this is really, really tough stuff. And whether Fox News allowed dictator to appear on the lower third, to me, that's an internecine battle of somebody who is so PO'd at Fox that he's using you to whatever it is. And you love this. By the way, CNN, I don't know what they want to do. Fox has really, people who are just Fox nuts are validating this in their own mind. But what's also interesting to note is that there's this other thing which is weird. And that is something very interesting. And that is that MSDNC is really picking up numbers, whatever that means. If you even think about that, if that's even remotely close. That's all. And I want to talk about something about Trump derangement syndrome, but not the way you think. I've said this before, and I'll say it. Donald Trump is a genius, an absolute genius. He might be the most exciting president, certainly in my lifetime. More stuff happened with him than with anybody else. He is without peer. Without peer, I say to you. But I say something else which is more important. He's out of his mind. And there's no way that anybody can truly, honestly think that he has any desire whatsoever to appear in, or to go back to the White House. Now, we can talk about this all day long, and you can talk about it. Just, no. You know it, and I know it. He doesn't drive by the White House and say, God, I can't wait to get back in there. No. Right now, the battle's going to be to put Gavin Newsom in there, have him move out. As far as Carmelita Harris, I don't know what they do with her. Maybe they'll give her a UN position, or she's not going to take Dianne Feinstein's. That's going to Adam Schiff. Maybe Megan Whitmer might team up with Gavin Newsom. But I'm telling you right now, you want to put your money, you want to bet? Gavin Newsom. You want to go to one of those European betting parlors? Put your money on Gavin Newsom winning 2024. Trump's not going to... If he gets the nomination, it's a waste of time. Now, what Bobby Kennedy does, please let there be a debate. Please, dear God, let there be a debate. Bobby Kennedy could actually deliver this in a very weird way. He can deliver it. Remember, if he's not going to be the nominee, but if he goes third party, it's over. It's over with. It's done. It's done. It's a Republican. If he really wants to get him back, I don't think for a moment that Bobby Kennedy doesn't want to get these people back. For what they did to his father, for what they did to his uncle, for what they did to his family, for what they've done to him and his wife. I mean, this Cheryl Hines can't get work now. Who do you think those are? Those are the Hollywood types. And who are those? Democrats. Mm-hmm. Don't think Bobby is not saying to himself, you know what? My family's turned on me. Everybody, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to show you something. Watch this. If he goes third party, that's it. It's done. It's Ron DeSantis, who most probably is going to be the nominee. Because Trump is just going to, this is next year, and there's just too much going on. There's just too much stuff going on. Next, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but that's okay. Trump has got to stop acting like a damn fool by calling Jack Smith deranged. Ignore him. Ignore him. Ignore him. Ignore him. Every time you get to speak, talk about the country, your vision, the world. Talk to them about that. Don't talk about your indictment. Don't pull, again, a Lenny Bruce. Now, let me explain something to you. I want you to think about this today, too, and you're going to try your best. You cannot view reality based upon what you want to be true. I don't want Gavin Newsom anywhere near the White House. He is going to be the nominee. Biden is done. He's shot. They're not going to say this, but everybody knows. He's going to step down. Somebody's going to, I don't know, hits his head, COVID, something. He's just going to say, it's time for me to turn this over. It'll be at a time where she can do the least amount of damage. Now, also, let me explain something to you. This is the most important. And I know what you... more notes. When people say, you know what, his insurance policy is her being the president. I laugh at when I hear that. Joe Biden is not running this country. It doesn't matter if it's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom. Doesn't matter. They're not running. It's not their. They're just who's better to look like they're driving the bus and who takes the heat, who can answer some questions. That's it. They're not running the show. Kamala Harris doesn't have to know how the Pentagon works a budget. No. She's going to sit there and she's going to laugh and cackle. And the better it is, which is wonderful because the more stupid she acts, the more you'll talk about it. And the more you'll forget the other issues that really matter. She will be the greatest thing to Fox News or whatever because people will just laugh at her while the country implodes. I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter who's president. Unless it's a Republican. Then it matters. Now, I've given you a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff to think about. But remember, do not reject it because you don't like that reality. Reject it because you don't think it's true or because it's not true. That's fine. But don't say, no, Gavin Newsom, no, well, I don't like him, so I don't think he's going to go for it. Really? Yes. Okay, well, he's going to go for it. Well, that's a different story. So anyway, my friends, that's that. Now, please, are you signed up? Tell me you better. I hope you're here because of it. You've got to subscribe to the channel here. You've got to do it. You've got to like this. The likes are so monumentally critical, it's not even funny how important it is. That's our metrics. That's our lifeblood. So please, we ask you to like this video. And I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to spend this time with you. You're a great and a brave and a wonderful group of people. You are irrespective. You are all devout and loyal. And even if you're not in this country per se, you have the patriotic warrior mentality. You believe in some rudimentary basics, the goodness, the fundamentals that everybody believes in. And I respect that. So until tonight, my friend, at 7 p.m., have a great and a glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And until then, remember these words, as we always say. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.